David, are you ready?
Okay. I must have been looking at a different
Thank
schedule.
you so much for overtaking and moderating this panel. I know you're.
Thank you for having me.
We're missing Eduardo.
Okay, one person is missing, but I would recommend that you start as soon that person arrives. We will add him.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, David, up to you.
Alrighty. Great. Well, welcome everyone to our panel. Maybe we can start off quickly with some introductions. So for those who weren't on the previous panel, I'm David Doss. I'm one of the founders of CKC, which is a hybrid crypto investment fund in the Cayman Islands, partnering with ChainBLX. And let's start off with some intros around the room. Sophia, can you welcome? Can you introduce yourself? Oh, you're on mute.
Thank you very much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. My name is Sophia Schluger, and I'm the Managing Director and Head of Business Development for Amber Group in the UK and Europe. In particular, focused on leading our efforts on our WhaleFin platform, which is a platform we offer to retail and institutional clients that allow them to access liquidity, earn yields, and mitigate risk in the cryptocurrency market.
Wonderful. And Dennis, welcome. Could you introduce yourself?
Oh, thank you. My name is Dennis Maliani, founder and CEO of Apotheca System, a SaaS company that is managing personal and also medical records on the blockchain, mainly focusing on security, data integrity, and interoperability. And we're in the some verticals right now, mainly sports, and we are combining their performance statistics with their health data elements, also to create NFTs on top of managing data that can be used for esports gaming or gambling in that arena. Thank you.
Wonderful. So Dennis, you're involved in this, it seems like kind of the intersection between blockchain, AI, and healthcare. Would you say that's a correct assessment? So
Yes.
so specifically with blockchain and AI, and this is, you know, a generalization with its limits, but a lot of people would argue that blockchain is a very sort of decentralized, kind of more bottom-up sort of a technological movement, and that AI is a little bit more centralized, a little bit more top-down, where many experts would argue the key players in AI will be, you know, a lot of the big, you know, existing publicly traded institutions. So how do you see the interaction of those power dynamics between blockchain and AI? And how has that been playing out in your work?
So with blockchain, we're focusing on decentralizing your data, but also giving you or empowering you as a user to own it and be able to share it anywhere you need to do that. Then on the AI aspect of it is around analytics, let's say predictive analysis based on the data that we are working with. That includes things like, for example, athletes predicting, let's say, injury, you know, maybe you can try to stop them to do something or exercise before they get involved in anything. So that's how we're using AI and also blockchain at the same time.
Interesting. And Sophia, looking at what you're doing and at your platform reminds me of the conversation that was just being had about collateralization. So if I'm not mistaken, WhaleFin is 90.9%, up to 90.9% collateralized, which, you know, looking back on blockchain and crypto, you know, collateralized loans, many of them were, and some of them still are 2 or 2.5x collateralized. So could you maybe give us a little background on how you were able to achieve such a more optimal level of collateralization, and maybe kind of give us some thoughts on where you see collateralization going in blockchain in the future?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it's important to take a step back and understand sort of Amber Group, the size. You know, we make up for up to 5% of the daily volume of crypto trades each day. in spot and derivatives markets across the major pairs. And so we have a very deep liquidity book, and we're very connected in the blockchain and crypto ecosystem. So yeah, one of our services, besides trading and earn and yield products for our clients, is over collateralized lending and borrowing. It's something that we're growing in significantly. And I would say that essentially our ability to offer that sort of service to our clients in that way is because of the depth of our liquidity book. And it's because of the connections that we have in the ecosystem to a very deep extent. So, there's a lot of innovation that's happening, and we're constantly refining our service offering to our clients. And so we're very pleased to offer very competitive, not only yield products, but collateralized lending in BTC, Ethereum, USD, and USD stablecoin.
Excellent. And as a follow-up question to that, do you see under collateralized algorithmic loans as something viable in the near future?
Yeah, it's a really great question. I mean, I think innovation is happening very quickly. I can say from Amber Group's perspective, at the moment, we're not changing our requirements for lending to clients at the moment. I think it's important to manage risk appropriately. And I think collateralized lending, at least for now at Amber Group, that's the best offering that we have. As it relates to, under collateralized lending in the greater, crypto space, I think people are being very innovative and finding different ways to sort of be able to lend in size to clients and counterparties and manage the risk thoughtfully. And so it'll be interesting to see how that evolves.
Fair. Dennis, so I'm hearing you talk about interoperability, identification, authentication in healthcare. Could you tell us a little bit more, for those of us who are less involved in the health space, what that involves? What are the pain points in kind of more legacy systems, and how do solutions like yours help solve them? Oh, I think we may have frozen.
Okay, company.
Oh, there we go.
Okay. So yeah, when we started our foundational in terms of the infrastructure, we focus mainly on healthcare because really it's one of those stringent industries where you're looking at GDPR, HIPAA, high tech to make sure that everybody's compliant. So we are combining that aspect before we really even started going into other industries like sports. So that is really the baseline of our solution and also infrastructure, because the main pain points when you look at, let's say, healthcare or even financial or even automotive industry, you've had issues with cybersecurity. Identification is a big thing. Data ownership is a big thing, especially right now, even within the continental USA, those issues right away from the get-go before we started working in other industries like sports right now. So when we work with athletes, for example, part of our scope of project we're starting to work with the LA Clippers in terms of structuring the agreement, is that this is a team that wants to capture athletes' data, but also how do they monetize the data? Is the data secure? Is it under regulation? Who owns the data? So those are some of the aspects we're looking at as we start building out the scope to start working with some of these athletes or even sports teams as we move forward.
Wonderful. And Sophia, what are your thoughts on the interactions between decentralized finance and centralized finance, or DeFi and CeFi, as some of us call them?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it's really interesting. I think CeFi, Amber Group would be considered a CeFi institution. We're really trying to bridge the TradFi, traditional finance world, with the crypto world, finding a lot of institutional clients that are interested in transacting with us, because they're interested in exposure to this uncorrelated asset class and basically diversifying their existing portfolios. I mean, I think obviously, we also trade on DEXs on behalf of clients. And so I think it's really interesting to see all the innovation that's taking place. I mean, DeFi, I believe, has a lot of, a great value, and a lot of people ask questions around, what are the benefits and shortcomings of using a DeFi versus a CeFi platform. And of course, it's a very different approach when, you are essentially offloading risk onto a DeFi platform where there are no sort of intermediaries, so to speak, and no middlemen and no customer service. There are definitely advantages, and obviously DeFi offers, generally speaking, much higher yields than CeFi. However, I think a lot of institutional clients, who are moving into the space feel a bit more comfortable making the transition from TradFi into CeFi because they're accustomed to having someone work with them or on behalf of them. And so, CeFi is interesting in that regard because obviously there are people behind it. There's customer service. And so there are definitely advantages there as well. I think the two parts of the industry will absolutely grow and evolve. And I think it's great that users in the space have the optionality to work with either or both. And so it's very positive to see that there's optionality there and that there's continued innovation on both sides.
Well said. And Dennis, circling back to you were talking about some of this healthcare stuff around hacking and data privacy, these issues. So if I'm not mistaken, over the course of the last few years, the number of health-related data hacks specifically has been growing significantly. One might even argue exponentially. So what are your thoughts on how blockchain can be perhaps helping to combat health-related data hacks, particularly in an era of COVID, where there's a lot more health data out there in digital form, essentially, and also a lot more concern around the issue.
Yes, to be exact, actually, during COVID, according to FBI, I believe last year, the data hacks went up by 400% because, as we know, data right now is the new oil. So with blockchain, when, for example, our solution, actually we have a patent around it, we created a constellation enclave. What that means is that think of it as a black box. When the plane goes down, everything gets destroyed. The only constellation enclave is a 3-layer hash data and add like 3 to 4 layers of security around it. So that in case, let's say there's a hack, it prevents that coordinated attack because again, you're encrypting hashing, but also you're decentralizing those pieces of data. So type of data we collect, for example, creating your unique ID on the blockchain includes things like your name, date of birth, social security number, your DNA, fingerprinting, iris scan. That creates that unique identifier so that anywhere you go, you have that thumbprint you as a user can use to get validated who you are on the blockchain, regardless any industry you're in. That's why we're industry agnostic. So that really simplifies things. And also secures your data as a customer.
Wonderful. Wow. Well, 400% increase is certainly significant and concerning, but also an opportunity for solutions like yours to help a lot of people that need help. So that's the upside. Now, Sophia, could you tell us a little bit more about how it seems you have kind of 2 different sides of your business in a way, more the platform and then the institutional services. So what are kind of some of the overlaps and how do those two also kind of stand apart from each other?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a great question. We started out initially trading for institutional clients, but we recognize a need to offer our platform to retail clients the world over. And so we have both an app as well as a web-based platform. So WhaleFin has 2 versions, a light and a pro version. It's basically an all-in-one digital asset platform, and it's designed to empower, our clients to diversify, manage, and grow their wealth digitally and securely. Because, as we're entering this new era of the metaverse, we believe that individual wealth is going to be built and managed in ways that previously has not been the case. And so we have built a system that's essentially a gateway to the metaverse that allows our clients to tap into different trading opportunities, yield opportunities, risk mitigation opportunities, et cetera. And so our business is focused both on institutional and more, let's say, retail clients the world over, but both can access our platform and take advantage of, again, very competitive, earn products, yield products, dual currency notes, take advantage of aggregated liquidity and trading with algos. And so we offer, for clients that have very little understanding of the cryptocurrency markets and are just sort of dipping their toes, we have knowledge and tutorials available so that they can educate themselves. For the more sophisticated, let's say high frequency trading clients of ours, we have very sophisticated trading tools that allow them to use leverage and margin. And, we trade derivatives and perpetual swaps, et cetera. So it's very customizable and very agile. And we seek to add value to our clients in whatever way in which they want to use our platform. I think the last thing I'll mention about our Whalefin platform is that, essentially this is us taking a long-term view and building out a next generation digital assets wealth management platform that allows clients to not only earn, yields, as I mentioned, but also be able to spend in the metaverse and take advantage of things like NFTs, et cetera. And so we've been involved in actually minting NFTs through our Creator5 platform. And we want to make sure that, we are the one-stop shop for clients to engage with their digital wealth and to grow it over time.
Excellent. Well, and I'm glad to hear you mention the metaverse and NFTs, because that was going to be also my next question. I think that's been top of mind for a lot of us at this conference. If we had $1 for every time we heard metaverse or NFTs over this conference, we could all start our own fund with those assets. But so starting off with Dennis, what are your thoughts on do NFTs, does the metaverse interact with what you're doing in the health and AI space, and if so, how?
Yes, actually, one of our go-to client we're working on right now is the LA Clippers, which is a basketball team. NFTs are one of the requirements actually we're working on. And really for us, what is the driver is the utility behind it. So part of the scope of the project, we're looking at how are we going to monetize the NFTs, but again, how are we creating those unique NFTs? Because as you know, right now, as you said, NFTs are everywhere. Most of them are digital images. How secure are they? Are they really, who owns it? So for us, we're coming from the aspect of having really an NFT that has utility, has data behind it. That is health metadata, plus their performance statistics, and also they're dynamic. So as they're performing as an athlete, or they're growing into their career, it's tracking all those things on the blockchain. There's security, first of all, there's transparency. But on top of that, there's also ownership. Because what most people don't realize, some of these NFTs, although you're buying them right now, you actually don't own them because you're just getting a license. You have it, of course, in your wallet, but it's kind of presumed ownership. So for us, really, we're trying to create that actual ownership where the athlete, being a pro athlete or collegiate athlete, they can decide to transfer that NFT for good, or hold ownership on it and still be tracked on the blockchain. So that's what one of the main utilities that we're providing to some of the sports teams we're starting to have discussions with.
Wonderful. And Sophia, same question for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, I think we've seen a record year last year in NFT sales in the order of 22 billion. I think, the market as itself is a small fraction of what the physical art market is, right? And so I think we talk a lot about Web 3.0 and, referring to technology that prioritizes users' ownership of data or assets, right? And so, I think NFTs are fascinating. I think we're going to continue to see a lot of growth in the space, but particularly in NFT gamification or GameFi, which essentially, is taking video game elements and such as scoring points, et cetera, and essentially, allowing users to trade or swap game assets that could be potentially even on different chains. And so that goes into sort of a lot of the innovation that, we expect to see in DeFi. This year is, innovation, the roll up scalability platforms, cross-chain access to liquidity, et cetera. So it's all sort of wrapped under this layer of innovation that's happening. And it's, I think, a way in which a lot of consumers will be able to relate and to enter the cryptocurrency markets, understanding sort of consumer utility and use cases for it. And so I'm really excited to see NFTs continue to proliferate and really bridge, non-crypto users, investors coming into the space and sort of connecting the digital world with the physical world.
An exciting opportunity indeed. And as a follow-up question to that, what are your thoughts on some of the kind of more recent experiments around, let's say, using an NFT as kind of a basket for other assets? So say, combining a basket of derivatives into an NFT that's then tradable, or say having, rental contracts, other financial instruments that are tied to NFTs.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think what's great about it is it's become very creative. I think it's wonderful that artists now can, monetize their work, and they can do it in perpetuity, which is not as easily done in the current without using the technology that blockchain offers. I think what's exciting to see is the way in which NFTs are being implemented in the real estate market, whether it's, ownership, NFT ownership of physical real estate, or, NFT ownership of digital real estate. It's really fascinating. And I think that will continue to evolve. One of the things I find really interesting is I've heard of NFTs where essentially that you can purchase the mood of someone or something. So it's getting very granular. And I think the more people open up to it and get creative in the different things they want to purchase and buy and trade, the better, because basically creativity fuels innovation. At the heart of the crypto industry is innovation. Well
said. Dennis, a question for you, especially given your involvement in a lot of the consumer side, outside of finance, in health, games, sports, these sorts of more consumer use cases. What are your thoughts on recent increases in gas fees, especially on the Ethereum network, the kind of rise to dominance of some of these so-called Ethereum killers? Do you have a favorite smart contract platform? Tell us more.
So it really depends on the end user, how comfortable they are. So when we're presenting our solution, we tend to present various ecosystems. For example, you have Ethereum, you have Solana, you have Cardano, and we give them the pros and cons of each. So right now, we are looking at the gaming space and also creative. We're looking at Solana because if you compare their gas fees to Ethereum, they're really, really very low. So that is very attractive also to consumers. But at the end of the day, also the way we've created our technology, whereby we're facilitating that transition in case you decide I want to stick with Ethereum. That is up to you. You have the pros and cons. If you want to do Solana, we can help you make that transition as well. So building that flexibility within that ecosystem, that is the way we are positioning ourselves, whereby we're not stuck in a corner. We are making it whereby consumers or end users have that flexibility of switching to either or.
Makes sense. And how about you, Sophia? Are your solutions built on Ethereum? Are you, do you have interoperability functionality? Is that something you're exploring?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, we can facilitate trading in over 100 different assets. We can source inventory. So we're very agile. I mean, I think, we're very excited, to see all the innovation, to see, alternative contract blockchains like Solana continuing to grow and increase cross-chain liquidity. And basically, the ease that it relates and results in terms of launching dApps on other chains. So I think what's very exciting about all of it is that these mechanisms for digital ownership and data management are going to allow for the expansion of development of high quality digital identities. And I think going forward, security will be very important in the DeFi space. I think that will be a higher priority, in terms of, runtime security, in terms of insurance against smart contract attacks, et cetera. I think that will yield itself to more secure dApps on the various blockchains. And it's a space to definitely keep an eye on.
Excellent. You beat me to my last question, which was what's one thing you'd like to keep an eye on? So Dennis, would you like to give your version of that answer?
Data ownership and identity. Those are big for me. And then the third one is security. If I could have a blank check on something I'd really, really work on, those three, I think are very critical, because if you look at where we're headed, be it NFTs or the metaverse or any new technologies that are up and coming, the main driver or the source really will be how you own your data, your identity, and also security around that. So unless we get those three things straight up, we're going to continue having issues as we deploy these new technologies. Wonderful.
Well, thank you both for taking the time to be here. Certainly an interesting combination of kind of the financial side and more kind of additional applications beyond that you both represent. So it provides a very kind of full circle perspective. Thank you both. And we're on to our next panel.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.